Hello, everyone, and welcome to Snap Take. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments, the official podcast of Marvel Snap Zone, and welcome to the end of the Deadpool vs. Wolverine season and the beginning of the Young Avengers season. Hopefully, we were able to help you achieve all your goals in the previous season, and if not, there's no time like the present to start getting going on that Young Avengers season. Young Avengers, by the way, is one of my favorite comic runs ever, so I'm really hyped for this season. So we've got 4 new decks for you. 2 proven decks in the previous season's meta, and then my favorite Kate Bishop deck for day 1, along with my favorite Marvel Boy deck for day 1. Let's get started by looking once more at Safety Blade's One Piece. This deck was taken out of the meta for a little while, largely due to the prevalence of Dr. Octopus. Dr. Octopus was very bad for this deck indeed. But without Dr. Octopus, this deck puts up enough power consistently across the board to really give everything, including those Sandman decks that are everywhere, a run for their money. Alright, let's get ourselves started by talking about some card replacements. You can find Safety Blade, the great Safety Blade, the former #1 player who created the Slayer Blade deck. That would be the Cannonball Professor X Ravonna deck. That was a Safety Blade original. So you can find Safety Blade on twitch.tv/SafetyBlade. For this list, you're going to need Namora, Iron Lad, and Sage. I'm aware that many people do not actually have Namora, so if you don't have Namora, feel free to scroll a little bit forward to the next deck, which is a high evolutionary brew. Sage can be Wolfsbane in this list. You lose a little bit for that. Sage is clearly better here, but you'll be totally fine replacing it with Wolfsbane. Jeff can be White Widow, Medusa, or Zabu. You just sort of want Jeff to be... Jeff's really important because he moves, but if you don't have Jeff, you'll live. You can even try a Nocturne in there, but Cassandra Nova's main replacement is in fact Nocturne. You could also run Copycat, Mobius, Red Guardian, Wolfsbane, and weirdly Rhino, because sometimes there's some really annoying locations with this deck, and getting rid of those is really nice. You could also consider like a Killmonger, because those damn squirrels are very annoying. Alright, so this is an Infinity Border winning top deck, and again, this has enough power to play into Arishem just fine, and it has enough power to play into the Sandman decks that are sort of overrunning the meta just fine. If you are at a point in the ladder, or on the Infinite Leaderboard where you're not seeing Sandman decks everywhere, get yourselves ready. Sandman is the current meta, it's the current top deck. What happens in Marvel Snap very often is the top of the Infinite Leaderboard starts playing a deck that sort of takes over the top of the Infinite Leaderboard, and then it's as people win with it on the Infinite Leaderboard, they beat the people slightly lower, who beat the people slightly lower, who beat the people slightly lower. As each level, the deck travels down until it's all over the place. That Sandman Patriot Ultron deck is going to be all over the meta. If it's not at your level yet, it will be. This deck is one to keep in mind to answer that. Turn 1, you want Nightcrawler over Echo, unless you think your opponent may be playing a Cosmo. Very often they are, sometimes they're not. Turn 2, Ravonna is your key play here. That's better than Jeff. You would really like to get that Ravonna. At that point, you would play Echo and Cassandra, but you're perfectly happy to just drop yourself some Cassandra Nova here. You're also fine dropping either Sage or Ironheart. Dropping Sage or Ironheart on fundamentally nothing is going to be the lane you're going to Wong on, because then when you Wong and Odin on top of it, it's still going to get those 2 extra triggers, which is real nice. Turn 4, Wong is your goal. If you don't have Wong, you'd like to play Iron Lad. That's why Zabu is a potential replacement, or I guess so would Psylocke be, because then you could play those on turn 2 and get the Wong Lad thing going a little bit earlier. Turn 5, you would really like to Namora on Wong, but Namora on Wong is not like a requirement. White Tiger is more than enough. If you go White Tiger and Odin on Wong, you're putting 8 times 4, 32 power in a location, and I believe 24 in another, so if you have any other power there, you're just all set for basically winning. If you did that on top of a Sage or Ironheart, we're really going to town. So again, don't feel like you are in any way required to go for Namora here. White Tiger is extremely strong. The reason Namora is a requirement then is not that it's so strong that you must absolutely, without any question, have it, but that there's not really another good secondary target like White Tiger. Turn 6 is either Odin or Sage and Ironheart. If you did that Cassandra on 3 thing, feel free to Sage and Ironheart here. That often is plenty of freaking power and more than enough to win the game. That's how you play this. We're going to take one last look at this deck, and then we're going to look at a new awesome high evolutionary list that I'm really excited to show you. So this is one last look at Safety Blade's One Piece. And I just want to shout out this White Tiger variant. I now have this and the Pixel. White Tiger is the last base card, the last non-2024 release card that I didn't have a variant for. So when this one finally turned up in my shop, I was beyond excited. All right, please hit that sub button. Our goal is to hit 15,000 subs by the end of the year, and we'd really like it if you could help us get there. We'd appreciate it so much. If you enjoy the content, we bring you the best Marvel Snap decks ahead of everyone else, faster than everyone else, so that you can climb before people know what hit them. If you are lower on the meta rankings right now, then you just learned about this extremely powerful Sandman list that's really great. In yesterday's video and the day before's video, we covered two different versions over the past couple days. We cover decks first that end up taking over the meta. We give you 7 days a week of at least 3 days, 3 decks every single day except Saturday, where we do a giant long podcast with some of Marvel Snap's biggest names. If you find value in any of that, a sub would mean the world to us. So would a like and comment, which would tell the YouTube algorithm to show us to people and stop us having to fight this machine of an algorithm all the damn time. In addition, we do the biggest giveaway in Marvel Snap. Yesterday's video, we gave away 5 season passes. This week, we're giving away 5 more. All you have to do is watch this video, subscribe, like, and at some point in this video, I'm going to ask you to make a comment. You make that comment, and as you do so, as you make your comment, you are entered to win the season pass. A comment on each video released on the channel this week is a chance for a giveaway. All good? In addition, if you are looking for an alliance, we are open to everyone. All you have to do is join the Patreon for free. You don't have to give us any money, but if you want to participate in our either King of the Hill tournaments or Snap Judgments League, multi-100 person competitive tournament, it's a $1 entry, $1 Snap Judgments Patreon subscription, just so that we can make sure I don't lose all my money on this. And then you have to join our Discord. Our Discord is up over 1,000 people. We've got 12 alliances running. If you're willing to join, we'd be happy to have you. Hope to see you joining one of our alliances if you are still looking to it, and the new season is a perfect time to do so. We have one more alliance-based announcement I'm really excited for later in this video. We're going to get to that right after we talk about Kate Bishop, because yes, we are going to talk about Kate later this video. All right, next up, we have Rorem's Charles Darwin. Get it? High Evolutionary Darwin. Rorem Plays is a phenomenal player, often sits in the top 100 of the Infinite Leaderboard, and he cracked the High Evolutionary code in this current meta, such that it can handle everything. This can beat arishem, this can beat Sandman. This does everything you need it to in order to be super, super competitive into fundamentally anything that's not running Luke Cage. And I don't know if you noticed, but Luke Cage is not a meta card right now. I know Ajax is in this, and yes, you will need Ajax. You can try Hulk, but Ajax is so freaking important here. High Evolutionary is the only other really required card. Red Guardian is very strong here, but not a requirement. It's literally just a 3-drop. Cassandra Nova is your extra win condition against arishem players. Not a requirement again otherwise, but it's so strong against arishem, who is having a resurgence with new builds. We'll look at one tomorrow. Chill. Although we looked at one yesterday too, just for the record. But since arishem's having a new resurgence, Cassandra Nova is very important. Replacements for those cards, though, are possibly Nocturne, Hope Summers, The Thing, Rogue, etc. Honestly, just pick good cards around that cost curve and you'll be fine. You want to make sure that these are 3 or 4s, not 5s. So this is a top 100 deck that absolutely answers Sandman. This is the play pattern. We're assuming we're trying to play around things like Sandman, things that could give us trouble with this play pattern. Turn 1, Sunspot over Misty, but that's fine. You're just dropping whichever one you didn't on the first turn. On the second turn, turn 3 is Cassandra Nova over Cyclops. You are going to play them both almost always, unless something strange has happened. So if you play Cyclops first, you're just giving up a Cassandra power for no reason, and Cyclops is not doing anything on turn 3. He has to have extra energy to actually do something, which means you need the next turn. So, which is to say, you play Cyclops on turn 4 with nothing else, and then boop boop, -2 energy to -2 power to your opponent's cards. Cassandra's still fine on turn 4, and you can drop magic here if you have nothing else to do. Don't just waste the turn. You would much rather, however, play magic on turn 5, and your goal is to either magic plus a 1, or if they've seemed to be filling their board enough, you can magic and hazmat. Turn 6, if you've got that magic out, is pass. If you have not got that magic out, sorry, if you don't have magic, you can on turn 4, and you have Ajax, you can drop hazmat and then whatever else, and then just soak or whatever else you intend to do on that turn and pass turn 5, because that'll still leave you a hazmat and either She-Hulk or Absorbing Man turn 6, which is usually plenty of power to win the damn game. So Okay, so turn 5, magic into 1 or hazmat if their board is full. Turn 6, you either pass or you can just drop hazmat alone. If you just drop hazmat alone, that's totally fine. You're still going to be soaking 4, which is going to make your She-Hulk 2. Your Ajax will be 5, and you can still play She-Hulk and Ajax on turn 7. But your goal is to have Hazmat hit enough stuff, and it's honestly not that hard, especially considering Cyclops and Cassandra in the deck, to go Ajax, Abomination, She-Hulk to end the game. And then you've just dropped like a 20 power Ajax, a 9 power Abomination, and a 10 power She-Hulk for a 39 power final turn. And your opponent, not knowing you're magicking, because that's why you're not magicking until turn 5, right? Will play Sandman on turn 5, leaving you open to pass turn 6 and then play everything on turn 7 to win the game. Deck is a thing of beauty. Please, please, please give it a try. Also, if you needed to, you played Magic on turn 5, you could always go Hazmat and Ajax on turn 7 together, and just drop, if Abomination has gotten cheap enough, Abomination and She-Hulk. Remember, She-Hulk will be 4 if you just play Magic on turn 5. So it's possible Abomination has gotten cheap enough on turn 6 that you can go She-Hulk Abomination on turn 5, then Ajax and Hazmat on turn 6, depending on draw orders. This list is awesome. I love it. It's got a million plays. It's got a million answers. It's even got Shang and Red Guardian for anytime your opponent is bullshitting too much for you. You can Red Guardian off that Iron Man. You can Shang off that, I don't know, Blob, that whatever stupid card is giving you trouble. This list is so strong and absolutely dominant. Please give it a try. I think you'll really, really like it. Let me know how it goes. Kate Bishop talk. We're going to talk about what Kate Bishop is. You might have noticed that we didn't do our entirely dedicated new card, new season video. There's a reason for that, but it's going to have to wait for now. We're not going to discuss that in this video. Instead, I'm just going to tell you that I think Kate Bishop is probably one of the 3 best 2s-on-2 in the game. She is on par seemingly with both Jeff and White Widow. She is especially good if you have Thena, who's amazing as a 2-on-2, but more of a build around than the other 2, which is going in the deck, because she gives you extra 1s to play with 2s or 3s or whatever, so that you can trigger Thena more often. That's extremely strong and makes Hawkeye Kate Bishop an amazing card. She is a 2-3 on reveal, add 2 arrows to your hand. The first is the basic arrow. The basic arrow is Hawkeye. Remember, each arrow is a 50% chance of generating because it's 2 arrows and it won't repeat. So basic arrow is basically Hawkeye, which means you want to play Kate by turn 4. So that'll trigger on that location. If you play a card in that location next turn, you have a 1/4. Not bad. This is the weakest arrow, but hey, it's a basic arrow, so whatever. Next up, we have the Pym arrow. The Pym arrow is basically old Ant-Man, where it gives +3 power if your side of the location is full. That's much easier to use as surprise extra power at the end of the game than the other one, which sort of has to sit there for 2 turns, because turn you play Kate, turn you play Arrow, turn you play in that land, that's 3 turns altogether. Pym can just come down and do the thing, which makes it a better arrow, really, really strong. Happy to have it. It turns Kate into what amounts to a 3/7 if you can make its effect happen. The grapple arrow is the only totally unique arrow. It's an on reveal. After you play your next card, move it to this location. That's a 1/3. That seems amazing with certain locations like Shuri's Lab. You can get a card into Shuri's Lab and pull it off. It'll still get the Shuri's Lab bonus, and now you have the doubled card in another location, helping you in the game. It's really good at getting cards on and off cards like Angela and Hope, getting cards that fill in Elsa lane and then pull them out, so on. Really cool. 1/3 base stats is really nice. I think this one's great. Oh, where's our last arrow? Acid arrow is apparently after my announcement. Sorry, I put it in the wrong spot. You'll be okay. The announcement is Snap Judgments League would like to announce, Snap Judgments Alliances would like to announce we have a Snap Judgments competitive alliance. Our competitive alliance is Marvel Snap Legends. We are joined by basically all of the top ladder European players. You'll note a lot of these names are top ladder players. Sizer, Spike Lee, Toto, Valerian, Urban. Sizer is the current number 1 or number 2 ranked player in Marvel Snap. We've also got Luke Mars, Alliance Lowell, who is a phenomenal French player. Barzy, who's been number 1 this season. Bernie, awesome player. Dai Cavallo, one of my friends. Geo, one of the best players in the world. Bounce God. Finn Snap, the one of the most accomplished Phoenix Force players. Gerber, Harvey Specter, J.D. McDonaldinho, our friend who was on the podcast this week, Mayhaps, MSL Chamo, No Bast Bounce Guy, who was number 1 with Bast free bounce decks for quite a while. Orsted, Rockgl, Rutmus, who's always near the top 10, and Shashkor. We are doing a competitive alliance. What does that mean? That means we're going to be doing alliance tournaments. So if you're interested in watching really cool competitive Marvel Snap, you should probably get on the Snap Judgments League Discord. It's in the link to this video. If you just have to look for it, it's sort of toward the bottom. I guess it's in the middle because it's right above the like SEL thing. But check it out. If you hop in, we're going to do some really highly competitive Marvel Snap, some alliance battles with some of the best players, and we're going to make sure that you're able to see it, whether on YouTube or on Twitch. So if you want competitive Marvel Snap, please do check it out. Let's talk about that last arrow. Sorry. Oh, the last arrow is just not here? Pfft. All right, last arrow is the acid arrow. It's a 1-2. It's on reveal, switch sides. So it's basically just clog an opponent for 1-2. It's the best arrow. All right, this is the day one deck I'm starting with. This is a very, very powerful list. You've seen a list like this at this point. This list was better when Dr. Octopus was everywhere because this list hard countered Dr. Octopus. It's no longer as much of a meta call, but I think that Thena is enough better. This still has a super high win rate, and I think Thena is made enough better by Hawkeye, Kate Bishop to add to the list. I'm replacing, in this particular version, either Vision or Miles Morales in order to run Hawkeye. Miles was there to basically give you a 1 for Thena, a 1/6. Hawkeye is going to give you 2 chances at a 1 by drawing her. Plus, if you go Hawkeye on 2, Thena on 3, with another 2, whether that be Hawkeye on 2, Thena on 3, with one of the arrows, congratulations, you just triggered Thena the turn you played her. Get it? It's really, really good. There's a lot of ways to win with this deck. It's very strong. This is, again, where I think the meta will land for Kate Bishop. I know that this is just the best deck, but hey, really great cards that go in the best deck, that's kind of where you want to be as a new card. You want to be a part of the best deck. You want to force your way in, kicking out another extremely powerful card, and that's what Hawkeye does here, Kate Bishop does here. All right, so I'm going to credit both Barzy and Sizer for this, both members of that alliance I just told you about. That's why we did it where we did it. So, Sizer started playing a list like this a couple seasons ago. He brought it back with Gwenpool. It ended up being a meta deck. Barzy hit number 1 on the field leaderboard with it. Sizer hit number 1 on the field leaderboard with it. Sizer's version runs more 1s than Barzy's, but it's the same concept. So Thena or Hope can be Elsa, but you need at least one of the two. Nocturne or Cassandra can be Copycat or Red Guardian. A lot of versions are cutting one of those cards for Copycat in particular. I'm still partial to Red Guardian. I don't honestly think you really want another card there. And Nightcrawler can just be replaced by Jeff. I think you would actually be okay there. If you don't plan to buy Kate Bishop, please feel free to go back to Vision or Miles Morales for this list. So I think there's so much to do with Hawkeye Kate in this list. I'm going to actually go over some of that on the last slide, outside of the Thena play I already told you. So Kitty, turn 1, Kate on turn 2 if you have Thena. If not, I'd probably drop Angela first, but maybe I want to just know what arrows I have for later usage. We'll see. Because I can also on turn 3 drop Angela plus arrow, right? I can also then drop Thena alone or Angela alone or Jeff alone as necessary. I've been holding Jeff more and more because, again, Sandman meta, and saving that 2 for later is important as long as I have literally anything else to play. Turn 3 is Hope or 1+2 if Thena, or you can drop Cassandra Nova. I would generally drop Cassandra Nova or Thena and just, Hope or Thena and just skip Cassandra Nova in the game, unless there's a location or arishem that makes Cassandra Nova better, and Nocturne is just a fine play. Turn 4, you want a Gwenpool, don't get greedy, drop your Gwenpool. That's better than a 3+1, and turn 5, you would really like to Captain Marvel +1. You'll still Gwenpool +1, but very often you want a Shang or Juggernaut at that point, and it makes it a little tough. Shang and a 2 or Juggernaut and a 1 is, or Juggernaut and another 3 is your gold on turn 6, but very often you're just sort of spreading things out largely because of Hope Summers at the end of the game, and that's how you win. So let's talk about the different things the arrows can do here. So one of the main things that the arrows can do here is the negative arrow can jump on Angela, or Hope Summers, and then go off, giving you an energy and saving you that space. The grapple arrow can do the same thing. The other thing that I really like the grapple arrow can do is the grapple arrow can give you 2 Nocturne location changes. You can play the grapple arrow, then play Nocturne. It's going to pull Nocturne over, changing that location, but not using up Nocturne's move. That's the only really, really awesome use for grapple arrow, though. It can do the same thing for Angela or Hope, that the acid arrow can in those circumstances. The other arrows are less useful here. Although, if you decided to run an Elsa version of this list, and sometimes Sizer runs Elsa over Hope, it switches, then the fill the lane Pim arrow gets better, because filling a lane is going to make it a 3 power base, which is going to make it a 7 3? No. It gets 3 more. It's 1/6 power card, right? So there is that as well to really like about that potential. Meanwhile, you don't actually super care about the basic arrow. The only real use for the basic arrow is that Kitty or Jeff or Nocturne can trigger it and then get out of there. It's fine. It's not amazing, but it is a thing that makes your predictability of play from playing a card like that a little bit better. All right, next up we have Marvel Boy, and this is my season pass question. My season pass question is, outside of trying to win it, because again, I would, if I could, I would just get everyone the season pass. Outside of like trying to win the season pass, do you usually buy the season pass? Why or why not? Well, just nice and simple. Try not to attack each other in the comments, please. Try not to be rude about the question. Oh, you're an idiot if you pay. Oh, we're subsidizing if you don't. We get it. Just try and be nice, respectful, thoughtful. Your season pass winning question is, let's say you don't win it. Do you buy the season pass? Does it matter how good it is? Why not? What are your thoughts on it? Marvel Boy is a 3/2. Series 5, after 6,000 tokens in Spotlight caches. After each turn, give 3 of your 1-cost cards plus 1 power. That's awesome. If you play Squirrel Girl and this and do nothing else, you've got 314 worth of stats out of this card. That's a good werewolf by night. That's the power level of a sage. It's the power level of a silver surfer, right? It's a phenomenal card. This is a phenomenal card. It's guaranteed to be a phenomenal card. Everything that does stats like this is good. So Marvel Boy is almost guaranteed to be good. Like, so close to guaranteed to be good. He might be dangerous for a week while Shadow King is everywhere and Killmonger suddenly gets dusted off. But once that week or 2 weeks is done, this is going to be a meta card. Straight up, Marvel Boy is awesome. And the obvious home for him is Zoo. Is Zoo going to be the best home? I'm not sure. I think there might be something like the previous deck that sort of gets rid of the move stuff and instead runs the Squirrel Girl stuff and like Shauna and Mockingbird and tries to do something like that. And I think that might end up being better. Am I sure about that? Hell no. But that's possible. This is where I'm starting with Marvel Boy though, because why start fancy? Let's see if Zoo can be meta again. We found out that Gilgamesh made Zoo meta for a while. Is Marvel Boy enough of a buff to Zoo to make it powerful? I'm assuming the second this card comes out, everyone's dusting off their surfers and their killmongers, so I shall be running Kyra in my Zoo for at least a few days. I'm very often a just cut Kyra person, but when the card is brand new, I think you have to run Kyra. Once the card is rare, you don't have to win every game of Marvel Snap, right? If you see your opponent drop a Deadpool and you know you're playing this deck and they snap, just retreat. If you see your opponent playing a Surfer, right, they drop a Brood on turn 3 and they snap, just run. You don't have to stick around for that. There's no real benefit to you. Like, you run for 1 cube, it's perfectly fine. You're going to lose your fair share of 1 cube games anyway. As long as that's less than 10% of the meta, it's not a big enough deal to worry about. Neither one of those are even close to 10% of the meta. All right, so I know Zoo is obvious, sorry. So Nico can be Nebula, Elektra, Rocket, or Spider-Ham. I'm partial to Elektra. I think there's going to be a lot of ones in the meta that would be nice to get rid of. Kara can be Nocturne, Copycat, or Armor, and Gilgamesh can be Cull, Obsidian. All good? So far, so good. Gilgamesh is generally better than Cull, but Cull is a lot of power and costs 1 less, so you can play Cull in a 1 or Cull in a 2. In the Cull versions are often run largely so they can also run Shadow King, and you don't especially want Shadow King in a deck with with Marvel Boy. I'd assume that this is part of the secret reason that the Luke Cage Shadow King interaction was changed, because it was probably too strong to be able to just drop Luke and say, oh, my ones are crazy. Alright, so this is an obvious deck. Let's do it. Scroll Roll is, generally speaking, your early play. That's better than Nightcrawler, which is better than the other plays. Turn 2, you play a 1 if you had not Squirrel Girl and you have Marvel Boy in hand. If not, you just drop Dazzler. There's a dog outside barking up a storm. Sorry about that. Turn 3, Marvel Boy if you have 1s, and Shauna if you don't have 1s. Kara is perfectly fine if you have nothing better to do. Marvel Boy is still a fine play on turn 4 or even turn 5, right? Marvel Boy on turn 6 is a 3/5, which is fine, but you'd probably rather do something else. Marvel Boy on turn 5 is a 3/8. 3/8s are awesome. You're not sad to play Marvel Boy later. By turn 4 you should know if you need Tuccrr, i.e. is your opponent threatening a Killmonger? If so, please do drop Tuccrr. You should fairly easily have Prio when you want to. Marvel Boy and Shauna are great here, as is Kazar. Turn 5 is Blue Marvel or Kazar and a 1. And then turn 6 is Gilgamesh and a 1 or a whole bunch of stuff. And don't, zoom in on that Gilgamesh. Though, if you have a bunch of 1s and Marvel Boy has been buffing them, it's probably enough to get like a 3, 14, 15 power Gilgamesh, which is often enough to win a lane, right? So there's a lot to like here. This list is awesome. Check it out. Give it a try. I think Marvel Boy is really going to make it sing and take it up another level in terms of power. Adding basically a Silver Surfer's worth of power to a deck that already puts out a ton of power seems good to me. Hey, if you're interested in gameplay for these decks, please check out the stream team. Today is Tuesday, so the great Prashaun Marvel Snap will be streaming tomorrow morning. He will have a YouTube video out with games from these decks. Meanwhile, Gregor2424 will have a video out sometime this morning with yesterday's decks video. Yesterday was tournament coverage if you're interested. Questions of the day, and then we're gonna do Patreon and head out of here. So my first question is, Boombot asks a good amount of keys or tokens to hold back in reserves. So my initial gut reaction was you should hold something like 4. And Lauren Woodhouse was like, wow, you should hold 0 if you know what you want. So what it's not a number that you should hold or shouldn't hold. It's that you should plan to make sure you always have 4 when you know it's a week you want to open. I don't know if you know this, but Marvel Snap Zone has a Spotlight Cache tracker. It has a little thing you can do to build your own plan for Spotlight Caches. Our friend Carolus made it. You should totally go check it out. It will help you decide how many keys you need by each given point, and how to save properly. Now, that said, I think it is generally wise to always save 6,000 tokens in reserve, or Lauren thinks it's wise and convinced me that it's the correct course of action. The argument here is sometimes cards like US Agent are buffed, or Hydra Bob are buffed at a point where you're going to have to spend tokens to get them, and you might not want to wait for them. And if you have those tokens, you'll be able to get them outside of the 6 to 8 months it takes them to come back in Spotlights. Mandatory Burnout asks what my favorite bounties are, and I'm playing a Heimdall-ass move deck for the move 7 that I think is really fun. I'm not enjoying discard right now. I don't know why, but I'm really, really hating the discard 7. It makes me feel like I just have to over-index on playing MODOK, which makes me sad. But the other thing I really am looking forward to that I really do like an awful lot right now is Destroy. It makes me feel dirty. I've never been much of a Destroy player, but friends, I'm actually really good with Destroy. I didn't know. Every time I play Destroy, I win a whole bunch of games on ladder. I don't know what to tell you, but I'm sort of kicking ass with the Destroy. I don't love the Destroy 7. Again, I don't want to have to over-index and Destroy, but just Destroy 5 cards overall, I think is really fun. Move 7 is still my favorite, though. Snap Variants asks, I don't like the fill every location, because there's nothing more annoying than having to play Ultron in the wrong damn spot, just to get that done. Snap Variants asks what recent cards would have been broken in year 1 of the game, like the original game. So Ajax is obvious because Luke Cage didn't exist, and I think Ajax would be just too big for where the game was at that point, and he would absolutely take everything over. Arishem would obviously be completely insane early on in the game. Just what do you do to stop him back then when he has all that stuff? I think Hope Summers is the clearest example of power creep. Hope should be completely broken, and that she isn't is fundamentally because the game's power level has gone up so much. And I think Gilgamesh, Zoo is extremely strong early, and Zoo eventually gets taken out sort of by Killmonger. But I think that Gilgamesh early on would just be insane. I think if you were a Series 1 and 2 player and could have bought Gilgamesh, you were so far ahead of the freaking curve. There's no Shadow King note. You better hope get shunged. So powerful. All right. Two Ties asks a silly question. Love you, Two Ties. That's my alliance leader. Asks if Brooklyn or the Bronx is where hip-hop began. And the answer is the Bronx. I had family that grew up in the Bronx. My dad's best friend was one of the first graffiti artists in the Bronx. They were all part of this. It's the Bronx. Brooklyn can claim what they want. They came to parties in the Bronx and took it home, but it started in the Bronx. Graffiti started in the Bronx. Sorry, I don't make the rules. It just did. The Bronx is just where it started because honestly, largely due to poverty. But it did like a lot of important cultural things started around Upper Manhattan and the Bronx. Um, because insulated communities in poverty found the arts as an escape. All right, patreon.com/snapjudgments is how you check out our Patreon. If you're interested, please do so. I'd like to say thank you to the great and original Abigail Gieslin, mandatory burnout, one of our Alliance leaders. Cables, always so helpful. Matt H, number one. It regardless is a word. David G. Wingfield, Dire Wolf, LAB, always kind. FaThorNewman, check him out on YouTube and Twitch. Good Dog Gamer, doing well, my friend, hopefully. Deuce Volt, see, I got the new name this time. Ink, the Graphite Fan. I am Frostman, I know. Jay Neverite, Corwin, Primed Ryan, Heretics Lee, the King of Questions. I saw the questions. I'm getting ready. Koiray, hey Koiray. Pyrophoros, hey Pyro. The Goat Seeker, another of our Alliance leaders. Denman Falcon, check him out on YouTube. Quid Pro Joe, hey. We're just doing Alliance leaders left and right. Doc T, the King of New Marvel Snap content, who will be on the podcast this week, and whose show I'm going on over the weekend. Rat Nick, another of our Alliance leaders. Ginger Prime, hey Ginger, you're up next. Ratco, who's carrying me right now, thank you Ratco. Haplo, hey Haplo. Candy Logs of the Danger Zone. Rob Silverman, The Bizza, how notorious. X-Force V and Skippy G. Tommy Nyquist, winners of Not Just League Season 1 and Season 3's sponsor, the King of Bros, bruh, one of our Alliance leaders. Black Dahlia, welcome to the mod team, my friend. The Great Kazoo, woo. Jessica Gamble, hi Jess. Ryan Wood, Woody. Kev C. Hoda. Luna Chris, our newest member. Quantum Quinn, what an awesome name that is. Way to be, Quinn. John Q, and another new friend. Eighth Sage, hey Eighth Sage. Mod Supreme Models, the other person, like Ratco and Models are just carrying me around on their shoulders. Really wonderful. Darth Tater, Remus Atala, Brian Kaufman, Tristan H. Martin, Jason B, J. D. McDonaldinho, hey, he's in the competitive alliance. The Fuzzy Dunlop, Spectrumix. Woo. Matt H again, we got two Matt H's. DJ Mecky Hijinks, No Frickin' Flex, Laris, Mr. Craig Sterry, Seamus, Jonesy, my Alliance leader, Two Ties, who asked a silly question. The great Lauren Whatevs, we talked about her when we talked about math, but we should also talk about her when we talk about great human beings. The Pirate King Tuccrr, check him out on Twitch. The homie Min, who's doing well. I've finally got in touch with Min. Love Min so much. And of course, Gunny T, where the T stands for, it's going to say want the data mines, but instead it's going to be want the tournament info, because that's what you're going to click right below me, right under me. It's going to say, here's a bunch of tournament decks from yesterday's video. Check it out. Tournament decks are the bomb. Peace.